Chris Legion, INN member, and it hurt. It hurt to read, but I, I, um, I thought it was really important that we read it. Somebody reads it somewhere on a stream. Um, Damn. So, um, I'm gonna get to it, and then this is all we have for today, and then we can get to some boats. So, Kris has. I don't know if you noticed, but we haven't seen Kris lately. He had been censored multiple times. He got kicked off of Twitter. His Facebook account got messed with. He got reported by NAFO, and you're going to hear about all this. And we missed the hell out of him. So I want to read this. This is why I left the online left. So his departure from the online left and its inability to solve its own internal insecurities. And a lot of this rings true and a lot of this hits home, and especially in light of what's happening next weekend and all the divisiveness and all the protesting against the protest march and rally that's going to be happening in D.C. at the Lincoln Memorial next Sunday. RageAgainstWar.org. That's Rage Against the War Machine. You can follow them on Twitter as well. We have a couple of INN members that are going to be speaking and attending, but there's been a lot of attacks against some of the speakers. Tulsi Gabbard's going to be there. Ron Paul's going to be there. Dennis Kucinich is going to be there. There's like 30 speakers, including Chris Hedges and Garland Nixon and Jimmy Dore and Tara Reid. And wow, so many I can't even name. I'm not sure if Misty is organizing or she's speaking or she's going to be there, I believe, too. But
yeah,
in light of all of that and in the face of all of that, I wanted to go through this. So,
not to derail too much, but go back. The the one more. Go the other way. I need Chrissy's face up there. There you go. Go. Jesus Christ.
This one.
God. Yes. You know that scene in the new Avengers where like they have Hulk, but like Hulk smart. You know?
No, I
feel like that's the look Kris was going for.
I don't
I
don't watch any of that, so I can't help you there, but
no. It's like the Hulk, but like the Hulk got like those glasses. He's like more Mark Ruffalo Hulk.
Okay.
No? Okay.
Well, those glasses, the fire glasses, are kind of hulky. But anyway, he's hulky, Dad. Anyway, he says, and I really appreciate that he took the time out to start by prefacing by saying this, because if not, I probably would have been pretty butthurt reading through it. He says, before I begin, I'd like to express that nothing I'm about to discuss in this article is directed at anyone over at INN and RBN who supported me these past several years. My good friends, Indian Reef, have been nothing but supportive of my opinions and on the state of current political climate and the challenges that many of us face on our side of the ideological spectrum. As for those of you who actually care, I haven't been around the online left spaces as of late. After a frustrating time dealing with heavy-handed censorship on both Twitter and many other platforms, and the massive amounts of snowflake, hypersensitive online leftists, I've decided to leave the online left and move on to take care of my family and focus on my personal and professional life path. Although my ideology still remains unwavering, I refuse to be part of a movement that isolates itself from any hope of substantial change. From social Dems who seem to be more obsessed with keeping the activist left focused on irrelevant distractions, creepy sex pests, Marxist cult leaders who like to take advantage of those under them who suffer from desperate circumstances, to those who start unnecessary divisions over non-sequential historical events. We can also add the many times I lost followers for simply chuckling over the ridiculous term of MAGA communism. To be honest, it was an unrealistic attempt to court the right, who would only take up arms against the notion of ever entertaining the thought of having a communist society. It was disturbing to see so many fragile followers stop following me for that one disagreement, even though we agreed on 99.9% on all on other ideological takes. Once again, It was just more proof of what I expected in my current evaluations of the online left. Combine these instances with three-letter agency ops. Yeah, we've seen some of those. And we have a perfect recipe for delusional perceived trust issues. I actually had one comrade who I fully supported who decided one day out of the blue that I was an op. So needless to say, I was canceled by that individual. Many times I've reached out to many of those on the activist online left, and no matter how many times we agreed on an issue, it seemed that many of them were more concerned with the idolization and praise of themselves rather than the actual causes they were advocating for on their daily live streams. Thin-skinned online leftivists, oh, that's funny. Thin-skinned online leftists would often invite me on their shows, but when I couldn't make it for personal issues like working 12-hour shifts at my legalized slavery job, the same very thin-skinned online leftists would take it personal and in many cases would exclude me from events and protests they were scheduling and advocating for. The only time I seemed to gain support from high-profile leftists was when a tweet of mine went viral, which basically confirmed my suspicion that they were just in the game for a back rub from these audiences. When my account was censored and none of my tweets were hitting well, they were really nowhere to be found. Not a single mention or concern, not a single amount of support, with the exception of my comrades at INN. The levels of distrust by the left have pushed away potential support from others who are eager beginners just learning of the leftist ideology and its interpretation of life. Yes, technically I was new to the movement and they told me to get lost. So in many cases, people wanted to be part of substantial change but were turned away by the left or turned off. So what's the question? How do you grow a movement when everyone who doesn't fit the exact criteria of leftist excellence doesn't get accepted and is somehow perceived as a threat looking to dismantle it? Now fast forward to another issue, which has pushed me out of the space. Besides the unscrupulous infighting, which gets the left nowhere, I've noticed that the left likes to talk tough with no action or real concerted effort to fight for the cause in question. For example, telling people to punch a Nazi, but too afraid to pressure progressives in Congress. The online left needs to come together on their present economic interests rather than just complaining on their YouTube channels. They feel that screaming into a bullhorn, getting beat up, and being unjustly detained by the police would somehow get them sympathy from a hypocritical populace who has no issue with voting for a sexual deviant president. They think that somehow they would get noticed by the average American who has no issue with supporting a corrupt Eastern European country that has Nazis in it. The BLM protests prove nothing, only that dissent will never be considered by any liberal or Western leftist. Oof. Currently, there are two outcomes that can produce results. One is waiting for the empire to fall, hoping that the left has a seat at the table when a new government forms, or the formation of a well-trained and organized militia that can actively stand against the tyranny of a nation which is inherently corrupted to the core. Complaining and yelling into the void on YouTube isn't going to cut it. Yelling in the front of the Capitol steps and being mad because an irrelevant member of Congress is dancing is not going to cut it. Marching down a city street where you need to get a permit and you're only allowed to protest when they tell you it's okay is not going to cut it. My disdain for the right and its trickery pretending to care about Western corruption is justifiably true. But they're under no delusion that dissent can be formed by fighting on all fronts, including having our militia. Not saying we need to go to war with our country. But the seriousness of the left and its commitment into trying to change the nation to a more social-friendly democracy is unrealistically evident. Even discussions of the tactic of carrying out small acts of civil disobedience are met with a vigorous debate and condemnation by many different online Western leftist voices. You wouldn't believe all the infighting I would see in DMs. Every time an organizer would try to organize a positive event, you could always count like clockwork for a heated exchange to take place from within. Like bickering teenagers, they would fight over where to have events, who was grifting and who wasn't, who was an op and who wasn't. They would produce team sport rivalries between factions. And damn wars. One of the most annoying parts about the online left is if you say the wrong word. The leftist word police will extract a heavy toll on your insensitivity, which could get you excommunicated for life on Twitter. I'm making fun here, but it's an extreme laughable scenario, if not just simply sad. You can say that this is just normal behavior for the online left, since I've been witnessing it regularly. I honestly feel that the online left is not serious about changing the world and shaping the political landscape, or the very least, it's completely ego-driven. And I'm going to stop right there because I took a little bit of personality in a personal whatever with that, because Kris didn't even know when he wrote this what was happening. I don't think it had even happened yet, but something happened with an INN, and something very similar to that about a word, and it caused somebody to leave because the rest of the network was not comfortable with that person using that word, and not just using it in speech, but using it in writing and using it as a stream title, and it was an issue. And I think that's really what he's talking about, and it's something that we need to think about and look at ourselves about. How upset are we going to be, and how upset do we need to be about this? What do we need to let go in order to be able to be more embracing? And here's what Kris is going to continue. So what have I been doing since I've been gone? Well, as I've been away for a while to do my own thing, I've deleted all my accounts. And I've kept my personal accounts. From what I've observed, it's that the left is nowhere to be found on social media. Not on TikTok, not on YouTube, not on Facebook, not Twitter, or any other platform. Unless you're Jimmy Dore or some other larger channel, you can basically expect to have a maximum of 50,000 followers. YouTube channels of people giving their dogs baths have more followers than the average leftist YouTuber. Oh, that hurt. I've seen channels with men showing their Laserdisc collection that have 500,000 followers. So why is this happening? Well, here are some of the reasons. And I love this top 10 list, and I posted this actually. This is only a partial list. It doesn't apply all of it to anybody, but I think that most people can relate to at least a couple of these. Is that the system will never push you into the algorithm unless you already have celebrity or professional status, or you just totally sell out. You're going to lose support from potential viewers because you alienate anyone who doesn't agree with you 100% of the time that you're on social media. You're canceling potential supporters because you're hypersensitive over words that may offend others. You trust no one because anyone can be a potential 3-letter op. You establish an unrealistic criteria of acceptance, which turns off people from joining your movement. You fail to recognize that the left is an extremely small movement online which has no say in any form of substantial change on all platforms which are openly censoring them. You want cheerleaders instead of revolutionaries and potential newcomers who are interested in leftist ideology. Those in power are not scared of you, but you think they are, that somehow at any moment they'll fall. And you don't study your enemies, their tactics, and their faults. All you do is complain about them. And that you identify with your viewers' pain, but you have no solutions for them other than just screaming that everything is unfair. Yeah, that hurts. Because I think a lot of us can identify with a couple of these, with some of the people that we watch, some of the people that we know, and maybe even ourselves. Where do I go from here, Kris says. Well, I've realized that the best course of action is to make change where my strengths lay. I recently have been focusing my energy on a new laundry business that I'll be acquiring. Inspired by activists like Rome from RBN, I'll be setting days where I can help homeless and low-income families wash their clothes for free, giving back through mutual aid and working in small part to make some minor changes in people's lives. If things take off and we purchase more locations, we can expand the program to more low-income neighborhoods. I feel my time is better spent doing this rather than looking for ideological cheerleaders on Twitter. Yeah. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone at Indie News Network for their unwavering support. And for everyone else, I hope a better future arises from the chaotic darkness of our current time. I'll be continuing to write on Substack with future updates. See you in the next article. And that's Waking Up with Kris Legion. And you'll hopefully be able to see him continue to publish on INN, which, of course, he's family and he's welcome to do whenever he wants. I miss the fuck out of him. So, thoughts?
No, I mean, you know, it feels like normal, you know? So,
now, mind you,
we've
he
been
wrote
saying
this.
those things for a while.
He wrote this like a while ago.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly relevant today, like literally today, with all the crap that's been going on. So, yeah, we need smart people like that, and we're driving them away.